Well, if you haven't already heard breaking news a few moments ago, a historic settlement has been announced. And this is definitely the face of things to come. Let's jump straight into the UMG page and let's try to make sense out of what UMG is saying here. When you see two logos like this mashed together, yeah, it does give a little bit of cause for concern, doesn't it? Yes, it does. All right. Let's find out what exactly went down. Universal Music Group and Udio announced Udio's first strategic agreements. First, note the word first, for new licensed AI music creation platform. Let's tone down the music for a second because this demands absolute attention. I want to say welcome to all of our friends who are coming through. And you might not have heard the news, but this is breaking news. Santa Monica, October 29th, Universal Music Group UMG, the world leader in music based entertainment, and Udio, an AI powered music creation platform, today announced industry first strategic agreements under which the companies settle copyright infringement litigation and will collaborate on an innovative new commercial music creation, consumption, and streaming experience. My friends, this is loaded. Take away all the bits. New commercial music creation, consumption. Spotify, you better watch out. This could be the beginning of the end for Spotify as well. Because you know, they ain't giving Spotify any piece of this pie. But let's wait and see. In addition to the compensatory legal agreement, the new license agreements for recorded music and publishing will provide further revenue opportunities. Note that word, further revenue opportunities for UMG artists and songwriters. Sounds like someone's been taking notes from the AI covers, that's for sure. The new platform, which will be launched in 2026, will be powered by new cutting edge generative AI technology that will be trained on authorized and licensed music. The new subscription service will transform the user engagement experience. So hold on to that thought because what they're telling you now is the floodgates of training with authorized and licensed music will be open to Udio, creating a licensed and protected environment to customize, stream. I told you, Spotify, you're in trouble. Apple, you're in trouble. And share music responsibly on the Udio platform. Now, if I could judge from the crazed buzzing about the AI covers, yeah, this is a totally new world which will bring in insane amounts of revenues for artists. Hopefully, they'll share the pie with the artists. We couldn't be more thrilled about this collaboration and opportunity to work alongside UMG to redefine how AI empowers artists and fans, said Andrew Sanchez, co founder and CEO of Udio. Now, when I look at this is also a power move. Suno, you better be watching out. This moment brings to life everything we've been building toward, uniting AI and the music industry in a way that truly champions artists. Chat into me, my friends. I'm wondering what you're thinking about this. Let me know what you're thinking about these new developments because this is wild and crazy. Together, we're building the technological business landscape that will fundamentally expand what's possible in music creation and engagement. Sir Lucian Grange, chairman and CEO of UMG, said, these new agreements with Udio demonstrate our commitment to do what's right by our artists and songwriters, whether that means embracing new technologies, developing new business models, diversifying revenue streams, or beyond. Now, I have to give it to him. He's smart because he knows if he doesn't, he's going to get left behind. What about Warner? What about Sony? Everyone wants a piece of this pie, and that's what I've been saying on this channel for the longest time. Do you think UMG will sit idly by as billions of dollars pass by in AI? You must be out of your mind if you thought that. We look forward to working with Andrew, who shares our belief that together we can foster a healthy commercial. Note that word. Commercial before ethical. I'm joking. I'm joking. But I thought, we talked about the ethics, but commercial is also very important, in which artists, songwriters, and music companies and technology companies can all flourish and create incredible experiences for fans. Udio's existing product will remain available to users during the transition period, with creations controlled within a walled garden, and the service amended in multiple ways, including fingerprinting, filtering, and other measures, before the launch of the updated service. For years, UMG has played a pioneering role in fostering AI's enormous potential. UMG is the first company to enter into AI related agreements with YouTube, TikTok, Meta, KDDI, Clay Vision, BandLab, SoundLabs, and ProRata, among others. Today, UMG and Udio mark the next chapter of innovation between technology companies and right shoulders by working together towards unlocking new capabilities. OMG. I know you folks didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. This is wild and crazy. That Udio, of all people, because we always thought Suno would be the front runner, but Udio, they sprung a surprise. They got to the negotiating table and they decided whatever we need to do to stay in the game, we're going to do it. Now, I'll just say it's like, in my mind, a slap in the face for Suno, except their plans for both of these guys to merge. Who knows what's been talked about? Who knows? Maybe they're cutting deals with these two companies in different ways. We don't know. We have to see it play out. But this is a preemptive strike in my mind from Udio. They will go down in history as the first to negotiate this type of a deal, and it has a lot of promise for music. So much for the skeptics who said music will never bend to AI. You see, I'm not on the side against AI. I'm for the side of collaborating and maximizing AI. And I think that's where a lot of purists, like if you've looked at my taxonomy for this whole mindset on philc.net, you can check it out, phillc.net. I talk about the purists who are at the level zero, all the way to the people who are like, let's go fully autonomous AI. It's a revenue stream. And when I read what UMG has, it's sounding eerily like there's going to be a whole lot of possibility for commercial uh, opportunities. And I'm not against that as long as it's all above board. I'm really hoping they do good for the artists because there is a crazy hunger for AI covers. And if UMG opens the floodgates and says, make AI covers all you like, but we're taking a cut, they level the playing field. The likes of Almost Real and many others, now they have a playground to play in, a totally new world. And I don't think people are going to get tired of AI covers for a long time because people are going to keep outdoing themselves and each other. That's what I see. But anyway, Udio builds extraordinary AI experiences to empower musical artists and superfans, pairing industry leading AI technology with groundbreaking partnerships across the music industry. Udio's mission is to champion musicians and expand how fans engage with their favorite music and artists. Udio is backed by leading lights from tech and music, including a 16Z Red Point, Hanwha, will.i.am, Steve Stout, Kevin Wall, and many others. For more information, visit udio.com. At Universal Music Group, we exist to shape culture through the power of artistry. UMG is the world leader in music based entertainment with a broad array of businesses engaged in recorded music, music publishing, merchandising, audiovisual content featuring the most comprehensive catalog. Come on now. Enough of blowing your horn. That's enough. That's enough. Does it even make you sick wanting to read it all? I'm joking. I have nothing against UMG. They've given us a lot of great artists, but this is really all about promo for them. And wow, wow. My head was spinning when I saw this news come on my screen. I could not believe what I was seeing because I actually seek out the news so I can bring it to you folks. And as usual, before we have our Wednesday sessions, I go scouring for the latest and greatest in the world of Udio's, Suno, UMG. And lo and behold, as I was doing my homework to bring you the latest and greatest, this came up. So, this is the final piece that I will discuss today before we talk about some other stuff. And I just say from courtroom to collaboration, when this was happening, I told you folks, I can't see UMG walking away, but I would have thought the Suno deal would have gone down first, but it didn't. It didn't. So, chapter one. On October 29th, UMG and Udio announced industry first strategic agreements that settled their copyright infringement litigation. It's like a dream. I can hardly believe what I'm seeing. And established a collaborative framework for a new, fully licensed AI music creation platform. I'll just say right off the bat, Udio, you better go partner with Suno because your system needs help. Your system needs some music education to understand chordal theory and from a musician's perspective to respond better to prompts. And I know Suno's needs work as well. Udio seems to have gotten the clarity in the mix. Suno, I don't know. They just maybe they all just need to partner, and maybe we'll get some artifact-free sense out of these AI tools because there's still a ways to go. There's still a ways to go. Then you got Toonie that is just so in its own world. Great mix, great mastering, but deplorable follow through of instructions. While the output is good, but it doesn't follow your instructions to the T. Anyway, I ramble. Let's go on. The key agreements: compensatory legal settlement, ending the lawsuit with Udio, new license agreements for recorded music and publishing, launch of licensed AI music platform in 2026, artists opt in or opt out framework, and dual compensation structure for creators. Tell me who in their right mind would not opt in? Wait, well, some artists are diehards. They're like, no, no, no AI for me. You know, the likes of Grimes, they need to learn from her mentality. Use my voice, use my stuff, but give me my bag. That's all. And I agree. There's only so much fighting you're gonna fight. You know, I have a very open source mentality to this stuff because eventually your catalog will not be owned by you because we're all going to check out of here someday. And it all boils down to whoever is in charge of that catalog. And if rubber meets road and people are looking for a bigger piece of the pie, your catalog is going to be part of the game. But anyway, these new agreements with Udio demonstrate our commitment to do what's right by our artists and songwriters, whether that means embracing new technologies, developing new business models, diversifying revenue streams, or beyond. So I know Sir Lucian Grange has been in the news a lot for various reasons, but I like this posture of collaboration. Okay. I also like Andrew Sanchez's idea of building technological and business landscapes. Someone's got to do it. Look, if these guys didn't step up to the plate, there would be another deal. And Warner, Sony, one of those guys had to do it. So Udio launched in April of last year as a cutting edge AI music creation platform developed by former Google DeepMind researchers. If you didn't already know, the service allowed users to create complete songs from simple text prompts, revolutionizing music creation accessibility. Now, when you take a look at Udio, they're no small fry, right? 10 songs per second, generation rate at peak, 125 million plus total funding raised. Udio is not a small fry. I know Suno has been very dominant, but Udio has been when you talk of the big two, is Sony and Udio. I think Suno has more clout, but Udio was definitely one up on them once upon a time. In August 2024, Udio and Suno filed responses admitting to training on copyrighted music but claiming fair use. September, labels expand allegations to include stream ripping from YouTube to obtain training data. And here we are in 2025. Reports emerged that UMG and Warner are in advanced licensing negotiations with AI companies, and we really didn't know what was going down until today. Thursday, October 29th. Well, Wednesday, I'm on the other side of the world, so it's Thursday here, but it really is Wednesday, October 29th. So, UMG and Udio announced settlement and partnership for licensed AI music platform. So, let's talk about the legal allegations. What did the labels claim? Well, RIAA, representing UMG, Sony, and Warner, alleged that Udio, just focusing on Udio, not Suno, copied copyrighted sound recordings en masse without permission, used the recordings from artists including Springsteen, MJ, ABBA, Mariah Carey, generated outputs that could replicate distinctive artist voices and producer tags, created music that would directly compete with, cheapen, and ultimately drown out human artists, and obtained copyrighted material through stream ripping from YouTube. Udio's defense, they argued that their use constituted fair use under copyright law. AI training analyzes building blocks of music like genres and styles, which are not proprietary. The training process creates intermediate copies never seen by users. Outputs are transformative and don't reproduce copyrighted material. It's similar to how humans learn. I've covered all this stuff on the channel, so some of you already know this story. Let's get into chapter 3, the settlement terms. So, what's in the deal? The core agreement structure is what a lot of us want to know about. So, compensatory payment from Udio to UMG, the amount undisclosed for now. For now, we always find out. The public always wins. The public will find out. Trust the general public. There's no hiding. Yep. So, compensatory payment, which I'm sure you're dealing with a big dog, UMG. That ain't no small amount. License agreements covers both record. And let's talk about that for a minute, because when you talk about this legal settlement, the artists are going to get a piece of that pie. Okay, just saying. License agreements covers both recorded music, master recordings, and publishing, compositions, lyrics. New platform 2026, training data is now going to be authorized and licensed from UMG's insanely huge catalog. Oh my goodness. But at the same time, I'm not really moved by that, because Udio's problem is not the training data. Udio's problem is the repetition and the repeatability of following the prompts through. I was quite impressed. I went on Udio a few days ago, and I saw they had this new ability to choose voices, specific voices, which shows they're always looking to improve. So I have nothing against Udio. I just didn't get the best results from it. I got variable results. And in this world of music, you want pinpoint precision as a producer. Well, if you've developed a taste, right? When we're speaking about certain chordal structures and you feed in an audio prompt to Udio, you expect delivery. I have to be honest. The tool I have gotten the best adherence to my audio prompts for various chords. Let's go musical for a second. You have major chords which are very easy to follow. And if you're on one key, following a major scale is pretty straightforward. But when you are interpolating keys and chords and scales for the riffing, it becomes harder. But Suno, as though by magic, I have fed Suno very dense chordal structures. And I'm not talking about major sevens and major nines. I'm talking about 13ths and clusters and craziness. And Suno has returned fire for fire each and every time. I want to say about 80%. There's the 20% outlier that Suno just goes cuckoo on. even version 5 just goes crazy. But if I was going to say the most trained, right, the most educated platform, I have to be honest, it wouldn't be Udio. It would be Suno. Suno is able to follow very complicated chordal structures. And I'll give you an example. If you haven't listened to my Gospel According to Groove, or you haven't listened to my uh, Trap Grit project, which you can find under Phil the Creator, those chords that you're hearing it do, right, in the beginning of that Neo Grit first song, those were all given to the tool verbatim. And Suno on version 4.5, it did it. Udio, good luck with that. So I'm not having a go at Udio, but I want them to step up their game. When these AI companies step up their game, I get excited because I like healthy competition. Like when I saw Toonie come on the scene, and what on earth? I mean, like this stuff played in the background. This is Toonie. Listen. That's clean. Check this one out. Check this one out. I mean, you got to give it to Toonie. That is clean. So I'm not against any AI company. There's more than enough for everyone to eat. So let's not get it twisted. I'm not saying that I want Suno to win. No, I want everyone to win. Everyone can win. But if Udio is going to be in the forefront with UMG, they better get their act together because their music, their tool, it needs a revamp. They got to do something with that tool. Okay. All right, my friends. Thank you for coming through. I see some of our friends here. Miami Blues. Always good to see you, man. Looks like Udio is back in the game. Yeah, it's a strategic preemptive move. Murphy Z, welcome. Eternal Recurrence, good to see you as always. Murphy Z says, what I don't like is people deceiving the public, creating 100% AI tracks, then building a profile that is completely fake at an attempt to hide. Yeah. And all that is going to be checked for sure, in the future. Like, what do you call Velvet Sundown or whatever you call them? Yeah, that's definitely a no no. Should be a big no no. Murphy Z also says, I'm a musician, 35 years. The lyrics are mine, the persona voice is mine, my profile music journey is true. Absolutely. I put a disclosure on all my platforms stating, yes, I use AI, and what percentage is AI and what percentage is human. Very good. And that's a model, that others can follow. Link those in the description later tonight. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So I appreciate you sharing your ideas. For all my other friends watching, I'm curious to know what you think. What do you think about this deal? Is this deal going to help us? Is it going to mar us? Is it going to move music forward? I would like to think so, but I'm curious to know what everyone else thinks. All right, what do you think? Do you think UMG is just in it for the bag? Or is it both? Let's be honest, even the good book said money answers all things. So UMG, they gotta answer to their artists. The more pie they got, the better for them. I don't begrudge them for striking this deal. Sometimes you just need to be about the business, and that's exactly what they've done. They bypassed, at least for now. It looks like they bypassed Suno. Suno seems to be taking their sweet time, and Udio seem to know what they want. And honestly, this is one up on Udio definitely because they need all the help they can get. Because Suno crazy. One of the songs I wrote, it says Suno the Beast eats everyone for dinner. It seems they're not eating Udio for dinner on this day. It seems like Udio has played one up. A huge, huge play there. So, anyway, back to what I was saying. This is going to be the beginning of things to come. I see the likes of Suno not being able to exist when you got a big dog like UMG on the side of Udio. Heaven help you. You know they're coming. You better be on their side because, a few weeks ago there was this buzz in the news that Udio and Suno seem to be partnering, and I know Suno's got to do what's best for it. And maybe Suno has a different perception of what is a fair deal, and good for them. I like fair deals. I like negotiating. I think negotiating is great. And to borrow a book name, The Art of a Deal, there is an art in dealing. And sometimes you don't want to show your hand too quick. So let's see what Suno ends up doing. We'll see. So dual revenue streams for artists. This excites me because, you know, a lot of the artists who do all the grunt work, people think they're making so much money until you understand the insane numbers of people on each artist's team. They got to pay so many people who are relying on them to eat. So the more money they get, don't let all the razzle dazzle fool you, right? A lot of these folks are doing stuff on debt, making dumb business decisions. So hopefully, the more money they get, the better it can work for some of them. So artists who opt in are going to receive compensation through two distinct mechanisms: trading compensation, payment for the use of their music in training the AI model, and a shout out to Landa because Landa, they allow you opt in to use your music, and I have done that. And honestly, Landa, they'll give you a payment. They give you a payment. Output compensation when the subscriber uses the artist's music to create derivative works. You get paid. This is the right way to do it. Going back to what our friend said a few seconds ago, what Murphy Z said in the beginning is so spot on, and I don't like that either. What the AI cover channels were doing was good for the people, bad for the artists. It gives the people an insane buzz. People love their artists. But what a lot of people are forgetting, going back to what Murphy Z is saying here, is you got to pay. Don't muzzle the ox that treads the corn. You see, there's a mindset that, oh, well, this artist has got so much money, I ain't going to hurt him. You are hurting them. And don't be moved by what you see. Yeah, they're making a lot of money, but they're paying a ton of people, paying an army of people. They're paying musicians, they're paying legal, they're paying people, beauticians, everyone on that team. So understand that. Eternal Recurrence said you get a 0.000001 type percentage. I have an AI channel coming out. I'll share in the next live stream. That channel is for 100% non commercial, but I'm going to use it to advertise my real channel. Hey, NLJ, welcome to the Madhouse. So, isn't it quite unusual that at this time of the morning, where we are, almost almost 4 a.m. in the morning, here comes this crazy news. So, I was already preparing for our every Wednesday AI Creatives Connect. But when I saw this, I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm going to be playing any music tonight. I'm going to be talking about this crazy deal that Mr. Grange, Sir Lucian Grange, has put together with his team. And I know it must have taken them a lot of pondering, a lot of reflection. And, I want everyone to win. And I hope it's the right thing for them. Knowing how big they are, they definitely must have crossed their T's and dotted their I's. The financial details, including payment amounts, revenue splits, and calculation methodologies, remains undisclosed. So, what's this new platform going to feature? Suno. Take notes, Suno. Take notes. Mashups and remixes. Suno, you can't deliver that today. But Udio is going to be offering mashups and remixes. This is crazy. Just yesterday, I was hearing a cross between Michael Jackson and George Benson. It was pretty decent. It was AI, obviously, but it was pretty decent. So this new deal with UMG, you're going to be allowed to combine licensed tracks in new ways. Insanity. Can you imagine a Led Zeppelin track combined with I don't know, a Tower of Power, a Take Six. My boys, that will be insane. Or Take Six with anything will be crazy. But anyway, I digress. We'll see how things pan out. Back in 2021, Take Six, they did a spread love challenge, and they allowed the fans to do remixes of their Grammy Award winning song Spread Love. Talk about being a kid in the candy store. I did 10 remixes of that thing. I ended up being featured on the Spread Love Challenge. You can look on Take Six's channel. You see the interview they did with me, but those are my favorites. When you talk about learning from musicians, honestly, a lot of what I know about vocal work, it came from Take Six. So imagine my joy as well as my shock surprise when they said, "Here are stems," and you can hear all the parts, all the full harmony. So I got crazy. I did 10 remixes. But with that said, can you imagine being able to do mashups and remixes of your favorites? My goodness, I know where I'm going. I'm going back to the 70s. I'm going to look for all those rock records I grew up on. My mom had a huge rock collection, and there's so many favorites. I would love to do remixes of some of those albums, of course, now within legal bounds. So it opens up this wormhole of possibilities. Tempo changes, you'll be able to adjust speed and timing, voice swapping, use UMG artist voices with their permission on their on your creations, on their terms, of course, customization tools, modify and personalize licensed music, and streaming integration. You know what I see? I see everyone having a crazy playlist of their own and everyone being happy. This is going to silence the skeptics. And this is what I've been saying for the longest time. If you're a musician, get on the paddy wagon, learn about these tools. Now, we who learned about these tools, we're ahead. We can do mashups and remixes all day long because we know how to prompt. We got tools to prompt. Just yesterday, I released 9 apps in one to help our members go crazy in these tools. And now UMG has come up with this news. The sky is the limit. It's ridiculous. You're going to be able to take lyrics, you're going to be able to take music, you're going to be able to show your true creativity, right, within legal limits. But for many of you, you don't even care about doing remixes or mashups. You just want to do you, and that's okay. According to sources close to the deal, users will not be able to export creations from the platform. All works must remain within Udio's walled garden environment, limiting commercial use outside the platform. Well, that's going to be fun to see. But you know what they're doing with that? They are making their own Spotify empire. And I'm telling you, this thing is going to grow like gargantuan grow, like massive. We can already tell this from how people are drooling at the bit for AI covers. Can you imagine a platform that has, oh, you really want to listen to AI covers? Well, here's all you can eat. 50 Cent singing 60s blues, Bruce Springsteen singing opera. I mean, it's going to be crazy, I tell you. The transition period, 2026, it was still a few months from 2026. They didn't mention if it's going to be Q1 or Q2, but I am guessing it will definitely be as soon as possible. Udio's existing services will remain operational, but you know what this deal is going to do for Udio? Oh my goodness. Udio is going to get a crazy hit of members because people want to cash in now. Even me, I better go back to my Udio account and reignite the payment. Lock in while you can. Who knows? I got to lock in while I can. But it's very exciting. The Silicon Muse, how you doing? Good to see you. Yes, very interesting times. Minx Motion Studio, welcome, welcome. Good to see you, folks. Tell me, drop me a line. What are you thinking about this? Are you excited, or is it deplorable news to your ears? Because I know some people, they're like, nah, I'm not happy with this. As the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. I'd already joined the paddy wagon eons ago. I'm not arguing with nobody. I'm not quarreling with nobody. I just want everyone to be happy and follow the ethics, follow the ideas, follow the principles, and follow the idea of ethics and morality. And I think UMG is leading the way. So walled garden, right? No exports, fingerprinting, advanced audio identification to track copyrighted material, which it just makes sense, filtering to prevent reproduction of copyrighted works, and enhanced monitoring, additional measures to ensure compliance. Moving on to the next chapter in this rather interesting book written today, depending on where you are in the world, or yesterday, on the 29th of October, right? Fair use versus copyright. So, at the heart of AI music copyright battle lies a fundamental question. Does training AI models on copyrighted material constitute fair use under US copyright law? What are the four fair use factors? Courts evaluate fair use claims based on four statutory factors. One, purpose and character, transformative use creating new works, and the music industry counter is commercial use competing directly with originals. The nature of work is also a factor, the amount used, and the market effect. And you can see all the other, don't need to read that to you on the screen. But as things evolve, what we're going to see is this will end up shaping AI copyright law, in addition to many of the others, right? Authors Guild versus Google 2015, federal court ruled Google's book scanning for searchable index was transformative fair use. Andy Warhol Foundation versus Goldsmith 2023, Supreme Court narrowed transformative use definition, making it harder to claim fair use. Music industry leverages this against AI firms. 2023, the court confirmed copyright requires human authorship, raising questions about AI generated works. Thomson Reuters versus Ross Intelligence, the court ruled training AI on copyrighted content without permission is not fair use, though applicability to music remains uncontested, or contested, I should say. So at the end of the day, this is where we are, right? The Copyright Office's position is this: human authorship is required. And many of you ask this question: Phil, if I get AI to write a song and I paid Udio or I paid Suno, is it mine? Now, while they tell you you have commercial rights, that doesn't mean it's copyrighted. Fully AI generated works cannot be copyrighted. AI assisted works with substantial human input may qualify. There are gray areas remaining around the level of human contribution required. The Recording Academy allows AI assisted music for Grammy consideration if human driven. For those of you who didn't know, there are other lawsuits ongoing. Udio has to settle with Sony and Warner, right? UMG has settled, but Sony and Warner lawsuits continue. But, looking at the big dog in industry, I think Sony and Warner know what to do. But I might be wrong. This is an emerging territory. We gotta sit back and take a look. Major labels versus Suno. There's so many private, independent artists going after Suno as well. All three majors still litigating against Udio's rival. UMG versus Anthropic, we heard about that. Claude AI accused of reproducing copyrighted lyrics, still active. And independent artists, like I said, versus Suno and Udio. Class action by indie musicians over training data. So it is becoming very, very interesting. I'm curious to know what you folks, many of you are accomplished musicians. I want to hear from you. I want to know what you think about this. Let's take a look at what our awesome people in the comments are saying. How will it help us, the little people? I'll give you an answer. Elon was a little person, right? A Facebook guy was a little person. Billy G. Billy G. Bill Gates, he was a little person. Jobs and Wozniak were little people until that fateful day when They tried to sell a blue box, and instead of the money, out came a gun. And Jobs said, people want to kill for our product. Let's do this all day long. Let's go set up a company. So I know we look like the little people now, but AI is all about capitalizing on it legally, ethically, to be the best version of yourself. Some people have greatness in them. It's undiscovered, but I believe that AI will help them discover it. There have been a number of firms in the recent AI world that have sold for tens of millions of dollars. Teenagers have sold their firms for tens of millions. Why can't you sell your catalog now that AI is becoming, right, legal? You could sell your catalog. So, how will it help us, the little people? When the rules are in place, you play by the rules and you up your game. So, yeah, well, we can eat the pie with the big guy, but you can also transform and transition to the big guy. You can write that next hit with AI. You can write that next hit with AI as a collaborator. You could make that next mashup. Now the gates are beginning to open up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see UMG, the big dog, as a threat to me being the best version of myself, and you shouldn't either, because it's all about being the best version of yourself. Kenny Z, welcome to the discussion. Kenny Z said, I did see this coming. Make no mistake, the Suno deal is coming. Also, these platforms don't need exporting. You are absolutely correct. People, when you talk about mad fans, I, my goodness, looking at the Almost Real channel, I'm convinced they are mad fans because these folks were ready to set up their own underground empire. So going back to that question about what about us, the little guy. So that was a little guy in September. You getting what I'm saying? That was a little guy in September, the AI, the Almost Real channel. But just looking at their brilliance and their mastery in creating this content, they became a big dog in the AI covers. I know that all their covers are down, but they're a good case study. They're a good case study for this. So yeah, Kenny's right on the money. Absolutely. Vision and Vibe, welcome to the conversation. This is a massive seismic shift. Absolutely. The deal between UMG and Udio is not just another tech music collaboration. It potentially redraws the map of how we as creators engage. Absolutely. And I think, a lot of folks just parrot off what they hear from UMG and Sony and Warner. And I think this is going to win a lot of support from those who were against AI music, who they, snubbed their nose at us and said, you guys are thieves, you're rogues, blah, blah, blah. Well, now this changes that narration because it's all going to be above board now. And don't get me wrong, everyone has a right to not like AI music. We don't all have to like AI music. We don't all have to like AI covers, but I'm telling you, a whole bunch of people do. And there's a whole revenue stream in there. Absolutely. All right. Silicon Muse says it was the way it was always gonna go. It was the way it was always gonna go. If Udio can nail the one prompt, one full song with their new model. True, true. May qualify. The big dog always wins. Better find another way to feature my songwriting. I guess I need to dig for more information about this. Isn't exporting required to post to YouTube? Now, who is now going all in on AI on their platform? It's emergent. So what I'm guessing, because UMG has deals with YouTube and all the other, it's going to be on UMG's terms. Remember, this is not etched in stone. This is an emergent topic. So it will be foolish to let the opportunity of having YouTube be part of this pass UMG by. Or maybe the surprise is going to be that Udio ends up having a video platform where we can conveniently, for a fee, as is being done on Toonie, convert this music into video and have it all in one place. I don't know. We got to see it play out. Hey Rodrigo, how you doing? Rodrigo says, "Hey, there's some channels already using copyright material." Absolutely. Do you know how they're bypassing the restrictions? I know how they're bypassing the restrictions thanks to our friend NLJ, who shared with us the secret. You said channels like DJ AI2 fake music, maybe using local AI. You're very correct. So there's definitely underground AI, but there's an AI tool which will remain nameless for the sake of this broadcast, which is able to do AI covers pretty fluidly without much hassle. But we will not name it for the sake of this conversation being above board. Yeah, so Mix Motion Studios is right. Definitely. I see a link somehow. I even see YouTube AI, like you have YouTube Studio, YouTube this, YouTube that. I see YouTube AI, and YouTube AI is just for AI covers, AI, music of a particular type. And I think it's going to catch on like wildfire. People are going to shock you. Yeah. Yeah, I get you, Rodrigo. Yeah. So the secret sauce, if you go back to our broadcast a couple of days ago, yeah, not Lay General, my buddy on this group, he mentioned it. He mentioned it. So I haven't checked it out yet or experimented with it, but based on our discussion, there's not only one tool but many others. Hi, Calbane Studio, my friend. How you doing? How's life out there? Hope you're doing well. Must be around 5 or 6, what, in the morning where you are. Let me know how you're doing. Hey, Conrad, it's been a while. How you doing? I think I didn't say it. Conrad said it. Conrad said it. Conrad said it. Okay, no, he didn't. Yeah, he asked for something that sounded like it. Something that sounded like it. Have you used the remaster feature? That's what they say. I have not listened to what I did with it. I was going down that path a few days ago and I remastered something, but I didn't go check it out. So that's a very good call out there, Conrad. We should definitely do a little experiment on that. Very good point there. I've always got my Suno page is always open, so we could maybe do a quick experiment and see what happens if we can do a remix on anything. We'll probably touch that tonight if we can. But thank you for calling that out. Yeah, covers. I see a lot of them. The ones who do jazz and blues covers of pop songs. Some sound pretty good, of course, because you know what the tool is doing. It's taking the original music and giving you all the best bits of it. Oh, you're back in the States. Okay, okay. Very good to hear from you, my friend. Very good. Oh, you have tried the remaster. 50-50. Some songs sounded really well done, others turned out meh. And honestly, my friends, this is what I'm telling you about AI. AI is not, it's never been 100% predictable. It has transient memory in a lot of things, and it never gets it the same way twice. I'm sure that's going to improve with time, but right now it doesn't. But I would say that when Suno on a good day, yeah, it could get things very good. But so that's definitely something I will look into. Minx Motion said, use remaster on a few of my songs, but always end up using the original. Yeah. So very good question, Conrad. So it was never mastered in the beginning. Let's get that straight. It was never mastered. If you listen to Suno mixes, well, Suno mixes that I've used, right out of Suno, it is never mastered to professional standards. First of all, it's too narrow. If you put on a good pair of studio headphones, it is usually very narrow. The width is, I don't even think it has had any width treatment. But beyond that, the frequencies are definitely not optimized. So if you're talking about mastering in the sense of real mastering, no. Um, but again, a lot of listeners don't even know the difference. They don't know the difference. Like when I listen to some Suno tracks, the end has a kind of sound. It tells me no human was involved in the final mastering of this thing. Because if they were, they would have done, a sensible gradual fade, maybe 10 seconds to the end, faded it out, cleaned off those boisterous edges. And then sometimes Suno songs take their sweet time to begin. You could have a 1 or 2 second break before you begin hearing stuff. That stuff isn't mastered. So you're very right in asking, is it really mastered? It's not. It's not been optimized. The frequencies have not been optimized. If you listen to the difference between a truly mastered Suno track and one that the same track on master, you'll know. But you have to have your headphones on. Listen to it through your phone or through the computer, just computer monitors. No, it's not gonna tell you the real difference. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Rodrigo says, I've got some really nice high-end frequencies with rides. Yeah, it's a hit and miss, which is why you need to take the law into your hands and master your tracks by using, and I'm not trying to sell them, but they're very good. Isotope has some great tools. They've got the essentials that comes free with Mixcraft. They've got Ozone, which costs a few hundreds of dollars. You've got other tools like Lander that I like. You've got Moises. Even Moises has mastering that is, because Suno has no mastering, right? I don't know if they know they don't have mastering. Toonie has mastering, which is pretty decent. It's okay. Toonie's mastering is it's a very conservationalist mindset because it does very little, but you can tell the difference. DistroKid has something they claim is enhancing your stuff at the end, and I'm not trying to spoil business for you, DistroKid, but there's too much highs in their enhancement. It's not the best for every track. Some tracks could benefit from that, especially those that have blunt sounding frequencies. But in terms of like something out of Suno that has maybe something out of Suno that has not had any treatment. But the problem with that is if you're taking a song straight out of Suno and dumping it in DistroKid, it's only going to amplify the warts and all at the end and at the beginning that has some strange artifacty sounds. So I would say spend time learning about mastering. I've brought on our mastering engineer, my mastering engineer, former mastering engineer, but he's out of the game now. But Dave Shirk has been sharing. Now we've done about 1 hour of tutorials on what mastering really is. And we're going through the mindset for a great mastering engineer. We still have more episodes coming down the pike, and I intend bringing Dave Shirk on, live to speak about these things. Incredible mastering engineer who's done everything from Tao Pow and Sheila E. Romantics and more. So we're going to be hearing from someone who, in the old world, used all the analog gear and some of the more recent gear from the likes of Isotope. In fact, one of his buddies was one of the founders of Isotope, so he knows quite a bit about this world of mastering engineering in this new world. So we'll be bringing him on this channel in the future. So yeah, Conrad, you open up a very, very important conversation. Is it truly mastering? And the answer is no, it's not. It's not. Minx Motion said, try Toonie this week. I like it for instrumentals. Absolutely. Very good for instrumentals. I hear you. Very good. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for chiming in here and sharing your ideas. Let's get back into the swing of this whole UMG thing. So getting back into the UMG discussion as you see on the screen, why does this settlement matter? It's a first major label AI settlement, because music is our world. That's why we're here. Secondly, it's a new revenue model. It's going to be really interesting. 3, it sets a legal precedent. And 4, this is collaboration. I know I have a lot of skeptics who feel, the record labels are always killing people. Not literally, but in terms of the share. But I think this offers a new world of collaboration. So I am happy to hear about this. I like things to move forward. And this, in my mind, is forward motion. So the shift from confrontation to cooperation is apparent, right? UMG's AI partnership history, YouTube, Content ID, AI music tools, TikTok, AI generated music features, Meta, BandLab, Sound Labs, ProRata, now Udio. You got to give it to UMG, right? So let's talk about the new license in reality. This settlement establishes a framework that other AI music companies will likely need to follow. It's not too late to make up for past transgressions. Udio took a note from that book. Licensing is required now. Fair use, defense seems insufficient. Proper licenses are necessary to train. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are many of you out there that just see AI learning like the same way a human would learn, but the exponential way AI can churn output out from its learning gives cause for concern. We're in a world where the human in the loop will always present an emergent thought. So, with AI power comes great responsibility. I think it's a good thing to do because at the end of the day, water will find its level, and everyone who needs to be compensated will hopefully get a piece of that pie. Definitely from these bigger labels, those fighting the indie battle, I wish them success in the same way. I have music out there, but I honestly am not sweating. I know there are people who have millions and millions of hits on their music on social media and on Spotify, and those people, they deserve a piece of that pie, right? So, training data transparency must disclose what copyrighted works were used, artist compensation, payment structures for both training and outputs is expected. Opt-in mechanisms. Artists should control whether their work trains AI. Some people, I had one person come on this channel and they cursed us all out and said they're never going to sell their soul to the devil. The AI devil, they're never going to use our music to train AI. So to each his own. I don't begrudge them. For whatever reason, this person was very opinionated, even about putting their music on YouTube. So I don't begrudge him. I don't, to each his own. And then the walled garden approach, where the platform controls the output, that is so smart. And we've been seeing that coming for a while and talking about it. So, my friends, over the past number of minutes, we've been talking about this rather interesting development, the UMG Udio settlement. Eventually, this will be put out on the failc.net website, where a lot of information is about the world of AI, my AI taxonomy. AI in music taxonomy is up on that website as well, and you'll be able to get to that very soon. I am going to put this in the chat so that you guys can go check that out. There we go. Check it out. And let me know, continue to let me know what you think, because this is breaking news. This is hot off the press. And we're going to see a lot of colorful reactions to this in the morning for sure. Okay. All right. Minx Motion said, considering YouTube's cut and the distributor cut, one more cut for UMG. We'll be opening up the guitar case for tips. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot that we're yet to see, and I think we just need to grab the popcorn, sit back, and watch what's going to develop. All right. So, with that said, my friends, we have come up on roughly 1 hour and 1 minute. So, we're about calling it a day as far as this new development. But for those of you who are new to the world of AI music, look around the channel. You'll see videos of me showing you around tools like Suno, Udio, Producer AI, Automate, Toonie, the list goes on. There's so many of them. If you're looking to get into this game, this is the channel for you. this is where you need to be. So thank you all very much for coming through. I appreciate your musings, appreciate your ideas.
Fingers tap a gentle beat.
All right, let the fun begin. For those of you who didn't know, if you haven't already heard, the world of AI music has been turned right side up, upside down, whatever you want to call it. But Universal and Udio, they struck a deal. They struck a deal. That's right. If you go on down to the UMG website, you take a look at this announcement. Universal Music Group and Udio announced Udio's first strategic agreements for new licensed AI music creation platform. There is so much stuff to talk about here. If you haven't already watched my previous video, my previous live stream, you might want to go listen because there's a lot of moving parts to this, so many. So let's tone down the music just a tad as we begin to unravel what exactly has happened here. Now, the summary of this is Suno is now in the corner, and I just call it Suno's dilemma. So in the shadow of the UMG Udio agreement, what happens when your competitor makes peace? That's the question I have for you, AI aficionados, professional musicians, hobbyists, those of you who've been following the story. I mean, this is a shocker. I mean, I was not expecting to wake up before November 1st and see this kind of announcement. So it makes me think and wonder. Now, I want to preface by saying in the world of music business, anything can happen. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's very possible that Suno is crafting their own similar deal, and who knows, you may wake up tomorrow and there you have it. Voila, there's another deal. I don't know. But what I can say is it just makes one think. What happens if Suno does not have a deal in the pipeline the same way Udio does? It seems as though Suno may be standing alone because the game has just so significantly changed. So, as I said a few moments ago, not too many hours ago, UMG announced a settlement with Udio. Now, this wasn't just news for Udio, it fundamentally altered the battlefield for Suno. If Suno is not in cahoots on this new deal, then they're going to be scrambling for the hills. I wouldn't imagine that Suno is not in some kind of awareness way beyond what we as people outside perceive, right? But while both AI companies were fighting the same legal battle with the same fair use agreements, Udio broke ranks and they decided to settle. And sometimes that's how the world of dealing is. Never show your hand. I mean, this comes as a shock because I would have thought UMG would go more for a Suno deal. But now this puts pressure on Suno. Now Suno faces all three major labels alone. There's no ally in the courtroom. Now Udio has an ally. Think about that. Suno has no ally. I'm wondering what you folks, good people out there, I'm wondering what you're thinking. What are you thinking? Is this good? Will this end well for Suno? I don't know. We have to find out. But let's dive a little bit deeper into what exactly this means. Udio's new position is legal peace with the big dog, UMG, access to a licensed UMG catalog, positioned as a responsible AI company. On the flip side, Suno's current position is fighting all three major labels, no licensed catalog access, and portrayed as the copyright infringer. Right now, Suno is in an uncertain dilemma. Right? We don't know what's going to happen with their platform in the future. And with all these new stream ripping allegations, who knows what? Independent artists have filed their own lawsuits in October 2025, and who knows how long that will play out for. This whole UMG thing played out with Udio for about a year, Suno seems like they're on the ropes. The numbers, Suno's total funding, users on Suno's platform 10 million plus, reported valuation target is 2 billion, and there are three major labels suing. So who knows where this is going? The legal pressure intensifies in chapter 2 of this saga. In September of this year, the major labels amended their lawsuit against Suno, adding a devastating new claim that Suno obtained its training data illegally, stream ripping copyrighted music from YouTube. Stream ripping is the process of bypassing a streaming platform's player, directly downloading audio. In other words, the audio or video files from YouTube. Of course, you know, YouTube has video, but there's audio along with it. The labels allege Suno circumvented YouTube's rolling cipher encryption, which is a system that changes access codes to prevent unauthorized downloads. Now, I don't want to go all gung ho on this, but I mean, we know that there are tons of companies doing this, but those are rogue companies. With Suno being in the forefront, the argument is we expected better, right? So, why does this matter? It isn't just about copyright infringement anymore, it's violating the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, the DMCA, Section 1201, which prohibits circumventing technological protection measures. Now, this is all coming to light late in the day. You would have thought Suno would be trying to round up their battles the same way Udio is, but that's not been the case. So in September, Labels files this amended copyright complaint, which is not looking good for Suno. Suno files a motion to dismiss in October, arguing that stream ripping isn't a DMCA violation. October, it's a few days ago, Labels fire back. The violation lies in the circumvention, not the reason for it. An independent artist file class action lawsuits. If you're watching YouTube, you've probably heard about some of these against Suno and Udio. And I don't think these lawsuits are going to go away, even in light of UMG having deals with Udio. There are still going to be those independent artists that come forward with lawsuits. But looking at UMG's position as the big dog, those are probably going to go away pretty quick. So in October 29th, today, UMG settles with Udio, leaving Suno isolated. So we think. Never say never, because we don't know the games that are being played, right? Behind the scenes. But let's take a look at the legal arguments. Fair use defense. Training AI on copyrighted music is transformative fair use, says Suno. But the labels say commercial use that directly competes with copyrighted works is not transformative. The stream ripping accusation, Suno says it's not a DMCA violation once content is accessible. There's no access control. Well, the label says circumventing YouTube's encryption violates DMCA. As far as the training data, Suno's been trained on tens of millions of recordings and learns patterns, not specific songs. But the label is insisting mass infringement on an unimaginable scale. What do you folks think about this? Do you think everyone's just chasing the bag? Or do you think that indeed the labels have a point? Let me know what you're thinking. I'm curious to know what you musicians, you music aficionados, you AI cover enthusiasts, what do you think about this? I think the AI cover enthusiasts are going to be wild happy, because now it looks as though things are going to be done in a legal way and everyone's going to get the music that they love. AI covers, right? When it comes to the outputs, Suno argues entirely new sounds that cannot infringe. No artist-specific prompts are allowed, but the label is saying, well, Suno can replicate distinctive voices and styles, and it's competing with the originals and devaluing the originals. So what are the stakes? Copyright infringement up to $150,000 per work infringed. DMCA violations up to $2,500 per act of circumvention. That could pile up really quickly. The total exposure, billions of dollars. Not even a measly $2 billion valuation is going to save Suno with this. So it behooves them to pony up. Do the math. The exact number of works allegedly infringed has not been publicly disclosed, but the labels represent catalogs containing millions of recordings, so it is not looking good for Suno at all. And honestly, in a crazy twist of fate, what if this is a preemptive strike to make Suno cave in? People have been talking about that. The UMG settlement changes everything. The market is going to shift. Udio's new brand is going to be an AI company that the people respect. The artists are all about what is in it for me, right? The with him syndrome. With Suno, there's no with him factor. With Udio, now there is. Suno's new image is going to be the holdout, refusing to compensate creators, wanting to do things on their terms, and not wanting to collaborate. This shift in narrative matters enormously for investor confidence, for user perception, and potential partnerships. Talking about the license precedent, UMG's settlement with Udio, my goodness. Look, you need to go watch my video on that thing because the template that this deal presents is mind-blowing. It undermines Suno's fair use defense, and it promises huge opportunities for artists. What the settlement here proves is that licensing is valuable. An AI music company can operate profitably with licensed training data. We've seen 11 Labs come up with their model. And I won't mention all the others, but the others, little guys, they're beginning to do that. Labels will negotiate. Major labels are open to participate. They want to eat. Everyone wants to eat. Everyone wants a piece of that pie. So they're not going to sit idly by. Are you kidding me? All the labels are going to jump in. Sony's going to jump in. Sony is probably cooking their own line of attack. Same for Warner. They're not going to sit idly by, and I don't blame them. Everyone's going to eat some pie. Artist compensation is expected. That's good. Both training and output is now going to be an industry standard. Courts may view settlement as evidence. If Udio can license, Suno, have you got 10 heads? Again, let me preface one more time by saying we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. This could all be one big plot. It could be a who goes first situation. And just because Udio went first doesn't mean Suno won't follow suit. Mark my words, okay? One critical detail from the Udio settlement. Users will not be able to export their creations from the platform. Everything stays within Udio's walled garden. What do you guys think about that? Guys and girls, what do you think about a walled garden approach? Where anything you create in Udio stays in Udio. A walled garden approach. KP says, I keep my distance from lawyers and the bags they carry. I hear you. I hear you. These days, the world of law and music is becoming inseparable. Truly. We can run, but only for so long. We can run, but only for so long. Oh dear. But I see a lot of pressure for Suno. Suno has a few strategic choices. One, follow Udio's model, sell it with labels, implement a walled garden approach, and compete on catalog access. Option two is differentiate by maintaining export freedom, the position as an open alternative. The risk is if option two requires continuing the legal fight, Suno may not have enough capital to survive. It could be really bad, a bad ending, and nobody wants a bad ending to a battle such as this. It's very possible if things persist, an organization could lose everything, its assets be shut down. Things could change in the blink of an eye. especially when you have the big three against you. It's not a good place to be. They're really against the ropes right now. What about the reported funding round? Well, Bloomberg reported in October that Suno is negotiating to raise over 100 million at a valuation exceeding 2 billion, a fourfold increase from its previous valuation. Do I think that they're not worth 2 billion? Of course not. Suno, I would value Suno at hundreds of billions in the future. But right now, they got to convince everyone that they're out of troublesome territory. Just looking at how the music industry grew in the 1900s, it is very evident that Suno is on track to become one of the biggest musical organizations leveraging AI if they play their cards right. Right? If they survive, yes. But right now, I'm telling you, investors are jittery. Let's take a look at why. Investors want legal clarity before committing capital. Udio's settlement proves the license model works. Continued litigation creates existential risks for Suno, and valuation dependent on resolution of lawsuits is what Suno is looking at. No one is going to take them seriously saying we're worth billions of dollars. Well, by the time UMG, Warner, and Sony, not to mention the indie people, are done with you, how does that give a 2 billion valuation? Don't get me wrong, I love Suno. Okay? I'm their biggest supporter. Hopefully not by weight. Maybe, I hope not. Oh dear, but I want to say like it is. Suno, get your act together. You got to negotiate. A well-known book says the art of the deal. You better get your art together, Suno. A partner at Matrix, a Suno investor, says this is the risk we had to underwrite when we invested in the company because we had a fat wallet that will get sued right behind these guys. Honestly, if we had deals with labels when this company got started, I probably wouldn't have invested in it, said Antonio Rodriguez. And it's the honest truth. There are three paths forward that we will explore in Chapter 4. Number 1, settle quickly and shut up. 2, fight in court, not really good. And when we take a look at all these options, let's break them down into 2 apiece. Pros and cons. If Suno is looking and they are not high in the clouds, they could follow Udio's lead and reach licensing agreements with UMG, Sony, and Warner. Reports indicate all 3 labels were in advanced negotiations with both companies as of June, seeking license fees and equity stakes. And honestly, all these talks about the monies, we're not privy to that. Although there's always going to be a tattletale that speaks in the future, but until we get there. The likelihood of this happening is high. Why? The advantages eliminates legal risk and existential threats, gains access to all major label catalogs, can compete directly with Udio. Let's zoom in on the pros, because this is the important piece. Preserve investor confidence, which is invaluable. Just to get the investor confidence, there are people willing to pay tens of millions of dollars of investments if only they can see a path forward. I'd put money in Suno if I see a path forward, right? It would also position Suno as an industry partner and will enable commercial partnerships. Now, the disadvantages of this, in my mind, are smaller than the advantages. There's going to be some expensive upfront settlement costs, of course, right? The same way Udio has paid a chunk of change to UMG, Suno's got to cough up that money as well. The ongoing licensing fees will reduce margins. Labels take equity stake. The walled garden restrictions, once they kick in, Suno may not like that. The artist opt out may limit the catalog that Suno currently has, and they would lose fair use pioneer positioning. So, based on what we're seeing, this might make sense. Negotiated solution. Path 2, fight in court. Again, looking at the two sides of the coin here, continue fighting all three major labels in court, defending the fair use argument and potentially settling landmark precedent for the entire AI industry. The likelihood of this happening, in my mind, is heavily reduced from what has happened today. The advantages: potential to establish broad AI fair use precedent, no ongoing licensing costs if Suno wins, big if, maintains independence from label control. It could benefit the entire industry. There will be no walled garden restriction required, and recent book AI fair use wins will be cited here. The disadvantage: the damages could far outweigh what Suno is looking to be valued at. Billions and billions of dollars. The stream ripping allegations will complicate the defense. Risk of injunction shutting down their service. If that happens, just go home. All I tell people, you better download your songs while you can. Everything you did in 4.5 forward, everything you did in studio, you better get it loaded. Now, in my mind, Suno Studio has a more likely survival rate than version 4.5 because Studio is working primarily off what you put in it, and their purchase of WAV tool earlier was a good move in my mind. So I have no idea what Suno is thinking. Again, I'm just showing you the pros and the cons. Some of the other disadvantages: new independent artist lawsuit will add complexity. We haven't even talked about that. And I haven't read that. I'm sure that's in public domain. It's available. I'm sure some individuals have covered that, although I have not looked deeply into what it alleges, the independent artist lawsuit. And I don't know, being that they allegedly have trained on YouTube video data that was available, there's likely to be some indie stuff in there as well. How much of it Suno knows more than anyone else? But again, the details of how deep this goes is unknown. It's a very murky territory. The Udio settlement weakens fair use agreement. There's a third course of action. Just stop. Just stop. Just turn off the lights and say, okay, we've had enough. Sell your assets to Udio. Sell your assets. I'm sorry, Suno. I don't want you to go out of business, but I'm just giving you all the options. 1, settle quickly. 2, fight it out in court. 3, sell your assets, go home. And 4, be a sitting duck. Just try and push things out as much as possible. But I can assure you that will not end well. Okay? Now, with this happening to Suno right now, we can see this happening to every other AI company, especially those that are a threat to the big three. They will all have their day in court. They will all have their day in a negotiated settlement, hopefully. We don't know when Suno's is going to be, but the big three will not allow this to play on and on. And while this is happening, let me also remind you that many countries have rogue players in the AI game that are creating tools that bypass any copyright restrictions. Okay? So they always have to go after the big ones. Udio and Suno are the big ones. There's a few other tools which will remain nameless, but I know they allow you to prompt on artist names. They allow you to prompt on artist and band descriptions, and I don't agree with that. I think that's horrible. And there are others which flat out just allow you to do what you shouldn't. And I'm going to leave it at that. So, my friends, the purpose of this auxiliary session is to talk about Suno's options. And the options, they're very slim. It's either sink or swim. You either settle or you keep fighting and you risk getting an arm or a leg bitten off. But I know Suno is smarter, hopefully. I think they're smarter. I have no idea what's happening behind the scenes. It's very possible this is, all choreography and orchestrated, and everyone knows when to come in and take a bow. I guess we'll see when that time comes. But for now, my guess is as good as yours. Hey, my friends who came through. T Sonic Vibe says, if Suno would settle, it would be a win-win for everyone. I like that perspective. My brother Gordon Beatology, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you coming through. I gave you a shout out on our previous episodes. It's a real pleasure to see you here. What do you think, man? Your former boss has struck a deal. Let me know what you're thinking of what has happened. Awakening Soul, good to see you on here. Artists opting out is not a major disadvantage considering their music is still part of the algorithm. That's true. That's true. I think those who opt out will have their music undiluted, which is also a good way of looking at it. I just feel that the tsunami of music that is coming is going to heavily overpower a lot of what existed. The world of music is very odd. It's an evolution. When you think of the early 1900s, we didn't have any of the things we have today. And looking forward, the game of music may very well change into some evolved transformation we can't even predict today. Music might really significantly change with AI. People's tastes, if anyone told you vinyl would ever become the underdog, would you have believed that? I certainly wouldn't have believed that. Looking at hundreds and hundreds of records stacked in my mom and dad's collections, are you kidding? Those were like the holy grail of music. But as CDs began to take hold and cassettes began to take hold before CDs, the end was definitely near. Now, I know vinyl is coming back, but as far as the evolution of music, it's always hard to predict. Who would have thought DAT tapes would be looked at as worthless? Who would have thought ADAT would ever go away? For those of you who are into those worlds, now it's all different. Oh dear. Beatology says I'm dumping all my songs out this week. That's the spirit. You got to get those things out. Release as many albums as I can. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Anyone who's got their vinyl, hold on to it. Hold on to it. Yeah. Who? And you're very correct. Those things are going to become works of art in many years to come. Yeah, hold on to your vinyl. Absolutely. So, my friends, I appreciate you coming through again on this occasion to debate this very important development. I think it was inevitable. There had to be a deal struck. Two of the big ones had to come together. And I think Warner and Sony said, you go first, we'll follow. And I guess they'll follow. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to become old by the time the big three do it. All the other little guys are going to follow suit. It's like follow the leader. They'll probably just follow whatever UMG does and, move in succession. T Sonic Vibes, I agree with you. It would be a shame if Suno decided to close their doors. Um, I use Suno to put music and voice to my lyrics. I can't sing or play any instruments, but absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, it would be a shame. There was one of our subscribers who said, now that everyone is so used to these tools, do you think you can go back to life without a Suno or an Udio or a Tuni? Well, I think now we have the answer. We're definitely not going back to life without one of them. As far as Suno is concerned, I said on the previous episode, I think Suno is more musically educated. I think it learns patterns and chords better. Does it malfunction sometimes? It does, but I still think it's significantly better than Udio, which is why I'm quite shocked. I think UMG, I don't know if they knew this to this degree, but I'm guessing they did because they're in the music business. They should go listen to both. So I don't know if they just wanted to use this as a preemptive strike. It's a very good technique because now Suno is in the corner. Suno's fighting where UMG is doing the alley shuffle. We'll see what happens next. I cannot predict, but it's going to get more and more interesting for sure. KP says trillions and trillions of music track exist. Finding your 2 cents. Well, it's a big battle. It's true. It's a big battle, but the way I see it, every musician, no matter how big, no matter how small, is sent to their own tribe. Everyone has their own tribe. And as long as you find your tribe, even if it's just five, even if it's just one, right? I mean, come on now, even if it's just family, one or two or three, I think one's work is done. Because in my mind, it's all about telling your truth, telling your story, and being honest about it. And we've all been fans for a few days or weeks or months or years of an artist, and then we shift our musical taste. Not that we hate the artists that we were fans of before, but we evolve. We're on a journey. The kind of music you listened to eons ago might not be the music you're listening to today. So I'm fine with that. It's all good. It's all about being sent to your listening base. It's all about changing a life a step at a time, like inspiring. Like we all inspire each other. I was just speaking about how our friend Beatology, his words inspired me to go look into developing that mental health app. And as I listened to what he had to say and I took action on it, I was amazed at what I began finding out about me. So he is a conduit to me. You get what I'm saying? And we're conduits to each other. And that's really what it's about. I think if all of our music is out there in truth, being honest and true to ourselves, I think the sky is the limit because maybe part of the democratization of music is we now have smaller communities of fans around many more artists where we are the artists and we share each other's art and we appreciate each other's art. I see that happening. And there's always going to be creators and listeners. Don't get me wrong, but I think the dynamic will change greatly. And I'm just here for it. I just want to see what happens. Just keep being true to yourself, and things are going to evolve. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate you. You're gonna be pleasantly surprised. So I already wrote the book. I don't know if I don't know if you were aware of that. So as I began working on the app, I realized that it had to transition being just an app because a lot of these theories and ideas I had had for a while, but just never really expressed them until I started listening to work on the app like you had advised. And I wrote the book Music Doctrine. It's now just on Kindle, but as a result of your influence and listening to what you said, I realized, yeah, mental health is big for us musicians. You know, we are in the middle. We've got the record labels. We've now got the AI companies in the mix. There's so many pressures, and then you got people looking to you to survive, to eat. You know, so being a musician can be tough, and there are times you may just have to pivot, and that whole dynamic can be very nerve-wracking. Having to pivot as a musician from one, this because you're in Hollywood, of course, you're in that part of the world where things happen, but you go into a store and there's your favorite artist working behind a till, and you're like, what? All those things are pressures, pressures on the musician. So I really hope everyone finds a way out of this. I think part of the democratization of music is if we work sincerely enough, ethically enough, hard enough, I hope it opens up opportunities to everyone. I think for the musicians who are very worried about the future, if only you teach what you're doing, whether you're making beats, whether you are a producer, whether you are um, a keyboardist, a drummer, a guitarist, whatever you might be, let me let you know this. There is not enough of us to teach music to the world. Just know that. There is not enough musicians. And I'm talking about those who play instruments, because I know a lot of the concerns were those who play instruments, those who sing, those who write. So if you are a singer songwriter, hey, teach your craft. How do you write songs? This channel actually started showing people part of my philosophies of writing, and I got a lot of requests from a few people to teach. Okay, what's the principle of writing a song? So there is a market for that. There's a market for learning how to play the keys. There's a market for learning how to program drums. There's a market, for how to play the guitar. There's a market for how to play the drums. And a lot of you musicians, you're not doing enough of it. But I want to give a shout out to some of the greats who realized that. Herbie Hancock. If you haven't attended Herbie Hancock's masterclass on masterclass.com, absolutely do it. The great Bob James, who's been sampled by everyone in hip hop. He also has a curriculum. Google it. He teaches you how to create. And the late great Chick Corea, rest his soul, huge inspiration to me. Chick also left us with that legacy of his online portal, and not to mention many, many, many other ones who are under various umbrellas. And you just need to look, you'll find them. Christian McBride, acoustic bassist, electric bassist, musician, band leader, he has stuff out there, right? On Peter Martin's website, right? The whole open music community they have there. You can learn anything you want, but there's not enough people doing it like on a one-on-one. And I encourage you musicians, don't feel defeated. Just reinvent yourself with AI. Look for what AI can do for you to be a better mentor, better teacher, better coach. Look in your community. So many kids want to learn. And I see these kids when I go into the guitar centers of this world, the music stores. I see a lot of people wanting to learn, but there are not enough people to teach. All right. Well, that's all for our discussion and musings today, my friends. Appreciate you coming through this late hour. Bitoji says Bob James is my favorite. Oh, Bernie. Bernie's crazy. Absolutely. Those are the sages of our time for sure. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Great taste. Awakening Soul said, I learned from a college English professor that the secret to writing is just to start writing. Absolutely. You're very correct. You're very correct. And one of the apps that I recently built for our members, I don't know how many of you members, KP, I don't know if you've tried it, but you're already a writer, so that you may not be a heavy user of that app. But going back to what Awakening Soul is talking about, the app that I put in there with our 9 apps from yesterday, you can just speak stream of consciousness thinking into the app, and it takes your exact words and it puts them into song format, just using your words, keeping it as true to your words as possible. And that really is the way to write. You just think out loud. You just begin putting, like a painter just begins with a brush and a canvas, and you just never know where it's going to end up, you know? Yeah. All right, my awesome friends. It's that time we're going to shut it down. The discussion will continue tomorrow. That's for sure, because the goalpost always moves. With these companies, the goalpost It's gonna move. Trust me. See you next time.